Welcome one, welcome all to the LCS waiting room. Now, right off the top, we want to honor a few holidays happening here in the States. It is both Juneteenth and Father's Day. So do something good for yourself, someone you love, someone you call dad. Or don't. I'm not your dad. But I love you, Dad. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for everything that you've done for me.
Appreciate it, Dad.
You're LCS dad.
I am the LCS dad. I guess that's true.
You keep us all in line.
I do my best. I don't always succeed in that endeavor, but you know, just trying to keep the
You check up on this though.
keep the ship
continue.
steering in the right direction.
Brad,
I know,
I
Raz.
thought
You are the
Brad.
problem child. In case you have not
You
identified
said
that.
yesterday that you were a brand new stable res.
Well,
he said firm.
I said firm. I did say that.
He's a firm
Stable was not
Firm
used, for sure.
res.
Never stable. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull from you, the audience. Yesterday, the LCS account tweeted out looking for questions that you might have for us for waiting room. So most of our waiting room today comes directly from you, the community. First up, how's the temp in the studio?
Wow.
Did Dash or Emily win the struggle for the thermostat?
This guy is super active on Twitter. by the
Very
way.
active.
I see his tweets all the time.
yeah,
I really
I appreciate
appreciate
him a
it.
lot.
Super
Yeah,
engaged.
same.
Yeah.
Love it. So, what's the verdict? Because I before the show went live today, I came in and I said it's
hot.
feeling a little warm in here. If I'm being honest.
And I was like, I'm okay. Now I'm kind of getting cold. My hands.
You're
are-
getting cold? I'm
Yeah,
still
look
hot.
at-
So
look
let's
Dash, you're wearing
let's
more-
go
Just
ahead
like
and ramp up.
incredibly
I am.
poor
It's-
circulation.
The reality
Extra
is,
layer.
it does not matter what the thermostat level is at the beginning of the morning because Dash will get his hands on it and it will change. Like he
Dash
is the
always
only,
wins.
I swear he's the only one in the studio that knows the exact location of the thermostat.
I do.
I don't know where it is.
I do.
Yeah.
I was the one who had
You
to
know
install
what? This also backs up the fact that you're dad because
it. I am dead.
Oh, he's always changing.
Policing
the
the
I control
thermostat.
everything here.
Guys, I'm hot. That's your voice.
All right, so I still have control of it. Next question. Was Raz fined for tossing the cushion at Markz, or was he encouraged to do it again? Well, Raz, were you reprimanded?
Do we
I
have
was
the clip?
not.
He was not.
In fact, encouraged. Everybody out there on Twitter was like, yes, hit him again. So
Yeah, do we have the clip? That was
Oh,
a
we've
good
got,
clip.
We've got, I think we've got more
Yeah.
than just a clip. They're looking for it right now, but they've
nice.
put together a little something for us. Yeah, I think more than just community encouraged. I'm pretty sure production is like, yeah, again,
Do it
more
again.
of that.
I will say,
Let the
though,
cushions fly.
Em, our producer, he's like just really concerned about breaking the chair. He's like,
Well,
these
that's a
chairs
legit
are nice.
concern. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mark's sitting on an uncushioned chair. He's like, you might break it.
Brand new
Sure.
set pieces.
Yeah, there
Don't
we go.
break it.
Yeah.
Do we have that video? If we
I have
don't, we'll
no
just move on and
promises.
we'll bring it back whenever you guys have it, because it'll be funny regardless of when we play
I'm
it.
gonna find more creative ways to use these chairs that puts it at risk.
Yep.
Good
I
luck
think
with
we
that.
should
Maybe
start
your creative
jumping
energy
between them.
can be
Yeah.
better spent doing other things. Well, that brings me back to literally seconds before we went live. Oh, here it is.
What? Ah! This actually
How
sounds
do I
like
jump over these
How many
chairs?
times do you want to watch it? Right.
Yeah,
So
why-
just
That'd be good.
it's a 2-minute loop, by the way.
I
Okay,
enjoy it
just
so
leave it
much.
playing for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So just before we went live, Jack commented that the pants he's wearing are perhaps the most
They're
comfortable
so
pants
comfortable.
that he's ever worn
Yeah.
on an LCS
Yeah.
broadcast. And Jack's been doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
in case any of you weren't aware. So that's a lot of pairs of pants. And these
It
are the
is.
comfiest of all the pants?
Yeah, I wanted to
They
do some
look
athletic
comfortable.
activities.
Right, so then he said, let's
they're
do
just so
athletic activities.
stretchy.
So I think we
And
should
then we
set
thought
up the
about the chair
chairs
jumping.
as
And
hurdles.
jump.
Yeah.
Jump
And we should
over
do a
them.
quick 2-hurdle race, you two against each other.
I haven't jumped in a while, but I'm willing to try.
Some
walking it back.
ankles are gonna break.
Yeah. Yeah. I used
What
to
do
be
you-
able to jump pretty high.
Do you have a decent vertical?
I could get like this much of my hand on the rim.
Onto the rim.
Mm.
Okay. And you're 6'1"?
The problem is
One.
so
Yeah.
I'm not
Taller.
saying much.
Okay.
I just already know I lose in any hurdle
You and I
competition.
both. You and I
I'm
both.
5 feet tall, guys.
We're the short ones,
Yeah,
but we're the quick ones. We're speedy,
Yeah.
we're agile. Either way, let's move on.
I can beat you in a race.
Next up, this wine wizard, Swole Sorcerer, if you
Sorcerer.
will.
Wine Wizard.
Asked, Should
What
I?
a
Also,
great
those two
name.
things seem counter to each other. Being a wine
Swole
wizard, but also being a
sorcerer.
swole sorcerer. But you know what? More power to you if you can achieve both things. Should I go to the park tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You
Yeah,
should touch some
parks are
grass.
fun.
I think touching grass is important.
I agree with that.
Same.
Just
Okay, though.
don't do it with wine.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
With
Don't
wine?
touch
I mean,
grass
Don't
with
be
wine.
drinking out in the park.
Day in the park with a glass of wine.
I'm
Wait,
not-
what? That
I-
sounds
Oh,
fun.
wine, the picnic, little
Sounds like a
cheese,
great
little
idea.
Yeah,
little big
charcuterie
charcuterie board.
Problem
and
is, if you're calling yourself a wine wizard, you're probably taking too much wine. So, like, calm down.
moderate the wine.
Maybe not at a park.
It depends when that tweet was sent. Like, was it sent last night?
It was sent yesterday,
So
which
then
would
you should
imply
watch
When we
it.
ask
today.
Yes.
questions.
But you can watch on mobile.
You can.
So
can.
take your phone, take your iPad to the park.
Bring a
with
glass of
data,
wine.
Bring a glass of wine.
It would
touch
make
some
watching
grass,
the games
watch
a
the
little bit more
LCS,
enjoyable.
Man,
celebrate
I have-
your dad.
I have the worst unlimited plan.
Do you?
It's such a scam. Like, how can Verizon have like 4 different unlimited plans? You think it would be unlimited?
I don't have unlimited data.
Yeah, I have.
I'm way behind the curve.
I don't even have data. They call it unlimited, but as soon as I go to a place that has people, they prioritize the data to others, and I just get.
We are so off the mark of where we were supposed to be by now, by the way. This whole show has fallen apart within 6 minutes. It's impressive. Okay, standings.
Move it along, Dad.
Standings coming out of yesterday. We got 3 teams at 2-0. CLG, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid Honda. 4 teams at 1-1. 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, Immortals Progressive, Cloud9, Dignitas, TSM, all still hunting for their first wins. From here, I want to flip to our next social comment because it's relative to the standings. But basically, a couple kind of major surprises, I guess, to a degree. CLG 2-0.
I was just about to say.
What should the CLG World's jerseys look like?
I was
think
just about to
it's
say.
a valid question. I'm glad we're asking it now.
I know we're hearing some TSM chants, but I think it's just about time we hear some CLG chants back in the studio and all that. Like, CLG is starting to do it, guys.
I had a couple friends in the audience yesterday, and when I met with them after the show, they were like, wow, CLG chants for like the first time in a while at the LCS. But also, just as quick as they started, they died out. I think because everyone didn't really know
How to cheer
how to
for
chant anymore.
No!
I have a conspiracy
Wow.
theory. I have a conspiracy theory.
Okay, hit
Right?
us. I
I
love
enjoy them.
conspiracy theories.
Where's Kobe?
Yo, Kobe is out, and Elias
But why?
has been stepping away, one of CLG's
Wow,
biggest
they were
fans.
cursing CLG.
And they were...
Was it just a front?
It's a metaphor for smothering people with love, is what it is.
Yeah, I think the jersey should have something to do with Seraphine because it's a really big,
'Cause that's how
really big part of their victories.
Okay,
It is.
so a lot of pink.
The correlation, either
A lot of
Kobe
pink and
not
music
working
notes.
during CLG's success,
Yeah.
or just picking
Maybe there should be a Kobe
Yeah.
Easter egg
Yeah.
somewhere on the jersey
jersey.
as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe there shouldn't because he's absent and that's how they
Yeah.
win. Okay, from there, the inverse, obviously, of CLG's hot start is Cloud9 starting in 0-2 fashion. This question coming from Mega J Tion. Is C9 losing the Golden Guardians signifying a rough start to the split? Says that neither of the losses so far felt like the game was won or lost by the C9 bot lane, and I'm afraid that Berserker Sven coming in is not going to solve their problems. Is it too soon to call this, though?
So it's hard to say if Berserker, Sven are going to be good because we haven't seen them, but they're both really good players. So I do think they should have better performances than what we've seen from the current C9 bot lane subbing in. However, I don't think it will solve all of their issues because, like, I know there was a play that Mark and I were talking about where, you know, Blabber basically goes bot to gank for bot, and then it gives up so much on the top side of the map, and that's kind of what ended up opening up the game. So it's a combination, I think. I think they still have a lot to work on as a team.
There are a few factors, I agree, that I do think there are still quite a few things they need to work out. But, I mean, they lost and died 2v2 bot lane. And then on another front, too, is just like one of their drafts, specifically you mentioned Golden Guardians. I thought Golden Guardians had a really good draft there. The Kayle into Ornn was a really good look there. Also, LeBlanc into the mid lane matchup was working quite well for Ablaze Olive on that front. And then I'm just never a fan of, at least in this meta, Jinx first pick. I think you can go in a lot of directions for that one, and I think that one definitely hampered their draft. So the drafting front, I think their bottom lane is definitely weaker than what Berserker and Sven would give them. So it's that I'm not worried. I'm not concerned with C9. Literally, we all expected this to be the case. Look, I thought they would win those games regardless. So now they just have a few losses in their column. But once they get the players back and they can actually start working through a lot of bot lane dynamics, changing their drafts up a little bit more to what the preferences are for Sven and Berserker, it'll get better for them.
That's actually the piece of the question that I want to push over to you, Jet, to explore it a little bit further, right? Is this idea that it isn't their intended starting roster, so
Yeah.
you do want to forgive losses. But most people thought, even without their intended starting roster, that they should be picking up
Yes.
those first 2 wins.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because you look at Team Liquid in, say, lock-in, when it's like, oh yeah, Core JJ's not here, they haven't been able to practice. They put in A lane, then they win lock-in.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh yeah, it shouldn't be that big a deal. It's just
Right.
bot lane. It is 2 players. Berserker, like, people forget Berserker and Summit are the players that really carried them last split.
True.
And Blabber had a few very good games, but Summit was carrying in when Berserker had a goalie, they'd win. And they're lacking both of those players. So I would have a little bit more concern. I'm with Raz, though, that I do think they will be fine.
Okay.
But we just actually don't know when they'll get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that they look bad now, it's probably okay. 8 teams make playoffs in
Right.
Summer Split. But if they lose enough games, it can really start messing with your mental and the rest of the team dynamics. Like literally just the difference between winning and losing. Even if you know, like, oh, actually it was probably a bot lane thing, it's going to create other conflicts later in the game where maybe Blabber and Jetson and Fudge start going at it amongst each other because a small mistake that wouldn't have cost a game with the better bot lane is now going to cost them a game and can really actually hurt the team dynamic.
Very true. All right, so ask us again at the end of week 3, pending whether or not Sven and Berserker are back in the lineup. Next up from teams, we're going to go to some players. Love this question. I love doing wild speculation very early on in the season. So who is your way too early to tell
Interesting.
MVP from Brooks? Brooks flipping 2.
I like this.
I'm gonna do the most lukewarm take.
Yeah.
Inspired.
That is
Inspired.
That is a good.
Okay.
That's a good one though.
No,
but
I
you're
feel,
right,
I
it
feel
is-
like
it's
people will be like,
lukewarm.
oh,
It is
it's not like a
lukewarm,
super
yeah.
hot take,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
Much like
a
this.
very like
Yeah.
he is a very
Cup,
good
you go
player.
You applied something
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, I think regardless,
So what?
he's been performing well.
Just from the 2 performances. So you're just going off of
Yeah,
the 2
he's
games
been
actually
performing
played.
well. He's a really important part of the way that EG like to play. And they've gotten off to the best start of any team that's ever gone to the midseason invitational
True fact.
and come back. So,
And I will
from
say, ignoring this week, because usually, you know.
I thought you were going to say Ignar.
It has to be based off of this week.
Wait, what? How is it a
It
too
has to
early MVP?
Wait,
It's based off of 2 games.
and I'm gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
Blabber, baby, let's go.
So yours
Summit's
is
no
like,
longer there to take it from
So
him.
his is an assumed.
his is a like,
peak
I'm
performance.
looking at odds and I'm
Yes.
still
Okay.
like,
I'm
just
still
trying to
That's
protect
fair.
my
I mean,
Yeah,
that's fair.
exactly.
Blabber's a really good player.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
fair, but a different question.
Yes.
Otherwise, here come Luger.
I mean, I was going to throw Luger out.
No, I'll
into the
say
conversation.
Core JJ
Okay.
because
Good
he's
one.
won MVP before.
Yep.
That actually tends to help in the LCS.
There we go.
The reputation goes a long way. And we even heard Whippo say that they're just going to play around bot lane the whole time.
Yep.
So if that team goes like 17-1 and they play around bot lane the whole time, it's Hansam or Core JJ.
And they already started
Yeah.
the perfect game. So
I like that
they
one
look
already.
pretty damn clean
Yeah.
so far. It's a scary looking Team Liquid, 2 games into the
Brighton.
split. Exactly, so far.
It's a bit Brighton.
From that, though, I'm going to jump over to our FTX Most Improved Award. This has been changed from last year, where it was a split-by-split award, to a full year award. So we will award it at the end of the split, but we do take into account the entirety, rather, of 2022. This is, of course, the award for growth from the start of the year to the finish of 2022. So I just kind of want to know who you got your eyes on. Obviously, we still got half the year to go. Still plenty of room for different players to make their cases. Some of those players have just joined the league here in Summer Split, so there's a conversation to be had about, does it matter if you've played the whole year, or is it just about the delta in your improvement, regardless of the time frame? You know, things like that. So
Yeah.
where's everyone at right now,
I think-
Raz?
I would say that I think the easiest one for me to hit, and we've had strong conversations on this when the topic was brought up last split, was Ssumday. Ssumday, as a player coming in from last year, was a detriment to 100 Thieves' success at the time. It felt like if there was going to be a weak link, you would look towards the top side. Right now, he is literally the polar opposite, where if there is an issue of instability with either the mid lane or the bot lane, you look top side to Ssumday's success. And last split, it was off his Tryndamere play. You saw through multiple games. Even through losses, it was Ssumday's consistent performance that went through, and it didn't falter, it didn't fall off. In fact, when the best player, the best top laner at that time in Summit fell off, it was Ssumday that remained firm at the top as the best top laner in the league. And so I feel like it's only going to get better. he will even slot into the current meta, it feels like, of tank top laners because that's something that he was strong at in the past. So Ssumday for me at the moment.
Average isolated deaths being first in the role is what speaks to that consistency for me, the stability that he lends to his team in the top lane. Who else? Who else we thinking of?
I would say Danny, because even like my ballot didn't even have him in top 4. Right? It's more about like it's not that he's not good, but it's that he wasn't considered in that top echelon of AD carries. And I think after his playoff performance, and if he can make some more noise in summer here, he has a chance to solidify himself as a top AD carry in the LCS. Some of his stats are already there. He just demolishes other people in total kills and has for the last 2 splits. But it'll be, and it's like beating a dead horse with this, his laning phase.
Yep.
If he can become dominant in lane and just translate that to still having great team fighting, he'll be quite unstoppable.
Yeah, 100%. Funny enough, incredibly small sample size of 2 games. But like in terms of damage per minute, second place is like 600. I think that's Johnson. First place, Danny, literally like 1,000, like 1,000, like 300.
Yeah, he had like 1,300 in that Ezreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That first TL
they're both
game.
Ezreal games, so obviously like it's just going to be an absurd amount of damage, especially the long game that he had versus 100 Thieves.
Yep.
My main point is just look out for him in the long run because this is the player that they play through. In Danny, he's only getting better, especially coming back from Korea and MSI. And so you were right. Like last last year, I looked at him as like a 4th place AD carrier. Like he was definitely firmly a top 5 AD just coming in. And then this time around, he is definitely gunning for the top.
Yep.
So, Danny, Ssumday, arguably a little bit more household names, at least in the current era of the LCS. Emily, you got somebody for me who maybe would not be expected?
So I agree with everything that they've said, but I want to highlight Jose Deodo because he's someone who came in as kind of one of these. You did really well in international competition on a team from a minor region. Now we're going to see how you do. He had a really, really rough first outing, but this year he has been a lot more of what we expected, right? A carry jungler. He's had a lot. The big thing for me is he's had such better communication with his lanes that he did not have last year. Already, just this, like, pulling away from spring already in summer. We saw that really great Udyr pick from him and performance on FlyQuest. So I wanted to highlight how much he's grown as a player, as someone who definitely did not impress me initially when he first came to the LCS.
I mean, when he first came in, it was the promise of his individual play, his mechanics, especially on Lee Sin. And it felt like when he first came in with a roster that had Palafox Diamond, and at the time, I guess it was a bit of a swap in top lane, initially LeTigress, right? And there was like that whole issue of the team just not seeing the game the same way. And so when they shuffled everything, new coaching staff, technically also a new roster, especially bringing in Takui, who they've been on the same page. This team, and bringing in Afro, has been on the same page, which has been great to see. And so finally you get to see him being able to flex what his individual play in team fights because they've been able to set up for it properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's been cool to see him a little bit more unlocked, right? That, as we mentioned, that first year, it just felt almost claustrophobic, like he couldn't get out of whatever box he was being, forced into.
Jose unleashed.
Get to be unleashed a little bit more. So we'll track those players and all the rest in the LCS throughout the summer split to see who will ultimately achieve the FTX Most Improved Award. Next up, another social comment. This one comes directly from the community. If trash talk is coming back to the LCS, who would you like to see start trash talking, either from the players or on the desk? Who isn't Markz?
Oh! What do we have against
Who
this?
is it?
I have a
Mark
Either Mark already trash
talks.
talks or we're uninterested in Mark's trash talk. Either way. What is it? What is anyone? I mean, so I would, straight up from the desk, obviously Emily is one of my picks for who I'd like to see start trash talking more.
All right.
That's a good one.
So
I did drop an F-bomb on stream.
You did, but I don't know if that's trash talk, because it's like.
Yeah, that wasn't trash talk. Trash talk would be like, I'm
it was
the
an
best.
awesome moment.
You know what I would love to see?
What would you love to see?
Biofrost trash talking. This man is too nice, and when hearing stories about it.
That reminds me of, remember Big versus Quan?
I was gonna pull it up on my phone.
Big versus Quan was so good.
Yeah. For the people at home, Google Big versus Quan.
It's great. It's a great piece of content.
I want to see that. You have not seen this?
Conquan, right?
Yeah.
Big versus Quan. He changed his name to Quan.
It just changed it to Quan, but
Big
have you not seen
flavor for
that?
that.
We made a piece of content for them when they were both in the league.
Yeah, I want more of that.
I want more of
I
that.
want like couple weeks in, whoever's 8th and 9th need to really get into it.
Yeah.
They just really need to prove, like, there's big ego there in being 8th over 9th. That's what I want to see. I just want to see it all over the place.
I'm a big fan of that.
I already enjoyed the fact that Dokla instantly comes in and just,
That was great.
Boom!
That was amazing.
Tactical nuke.
And I was not expecting that from him at all.
yes.
I also want to
He said
highlight
top
Danny.
3 by the end of the split.
That
Yeah.
is good. That's good stuff.
I like that.
I think Danny trash talk would be fun because I remember because he's so quiet, he's so nice. But I remember at finals when he comes out and him and JoJo have the interview, and he was actually the one that was throwing out the more like fire quotes. And in our head, we internalized it as JoJo, and then when we were going back and pulling the tape, I remember we were like, wait, that was Danny. Like,
Exactly.
He can fire some shots.
It literally like low key creates rivalries because a good example is like if JoJo comes out and says I'm gonna like beat a budget Bjergsen like and I lose to that, Telltale Games, I'm gonna remember that. I'll remember that until the next game match. So I enjoy it. We need more of it. In Porty's voice, we need more violence.
Nice, I like it. I'd also like maybe some of the LCS veterans now to get in on some of the trash talk. You got JoJo coming in talking a big game. Jensen, Bjergsen, clap back.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly.
I'd like to see it. Who knows? That's it for Waiting Room. We're going to hit the opening of the show, and we'll be back here to preview Game 1 in just a bit.
With some violence.
No violence. Welcome back to the LCS. Raz promised you violence. I'm going to take that promise away.
Yeah. I wanted
violence.
athletics. We were jumping the table in the
Jad, at least
I want to figure out if I can standing jump this chair.
If you can't, I'll be actually
If I
disappointed.
can't?
If you can't,
If
I'll
you
be
can't,
disappointed.
I'll be
in you.
disappointed.
Well, I am not 6'1" and didn't play
you're
basketball.
Wow.
The height has nothing to do with how high you can jump.
I could
Actually,
probably
a lot,
vault it.
yeah,
but
height
not-
can be
but not
directly
jump.
relative. Yeah, most high jumpers are well over 6 feet tall.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Fun fact. All right, today's schedule at the LCS: 100 Thieves versus Dignitas, FlyQuest versus EG. You don't have to be tall to jump high, but it does help.
Okay.
Anyway, Fly versus EG, TL
that
versus
Mario height.
Cloud9, and TSM versus Immortals to close out the day. Game number 1, 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's 100 Thieves, man. They're so damn good. What kind of a chance does Dignitas stand in this matchup? Well, let me remind you that Dignitas has handed a few L's to 100 Thieves in the past. So my question is,
Let's count them up.
is Dignitas the 100 Thieves Slayers?
Let's see.
Technically, yes.
Absolutely, Dash.
Boom!
Thank you. That's
And I think he used the wrong word. A couple is 2, a few is 3. I don't have a word for 4 because that's just Dignitas over 100
it's a party of wins.
Yes.
A gaggle of wins.
I pulled this B-roll specifically just because it's Ezreal just taking turrets. But I think the big thing behind Dignitas being able to beat 100 Thieves previously was the fact that they played around pushing bot lanes really, really well. They knew once they took down that first turret, especially with River kind of pathing down very frequently, sometimes Blue joining up for those bot side plays, they would then rotate their bot lane, whether it was like Ezreal Karma or Caitlyn Lux, to take down all of the tier 1 turrets very, very quickly. They understood that very well. We haven't seen that same identity from them thus far in summer. So that's the one thing I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's more so just the individual play as well. I thought Blue has just been playing in those games in spring, including the lock-in performance, much higher to my expectation, and just flatly better than Abbedagge. And so, like, we already saw a few of those games that was showed in front of us in the replays. But that's something that, to me, is really interesting for Dignitas, is that they play really up to the competition. This is going to be a different split. It feels like the level of play is much lower than I would have expected from Dignitas in their first 2 games. But it just doesn't matter, apparently. So, like, the fact that they were able to take them down 2-0 in lock-in tournament, and then during the split itself, it just didn't stop. Remember, one of those losses that 100 Thieves took was they would have had the longest win streak in the summer split because they were basically just killing it up until the playoffs. And then they lost that game. They dropped that game to the Dignitas banana peel just as we were going into the playoffs itself. So this is really fun to talk about, especially since Gamsu, who's now debuting, I guess, re-debuting for Dignitas, came up through the 100 Thieves system. Like, when he came out of Overwatch, was in 100 Thieves Next, then moved into 100 Thieves Academy, and now, of course, just moved towards Dignitas. So he's going up against an organization that he worked for just recently.
Speaking of 100 Thieves, I don't feel like we've actually taken maybe enough time on the broadcast to almost recover and react to, the lackluster finish, for lack of a better word, to their spring split. Remember, this is a team that was a series away from being back-to-back champions, Jad.
Yeah, and they won the game against TSM. Technically. Because they were losing a lot of the
Big on the technicalities.
And then against EG, even though JoJo died to Abbedagge's turret, giving Abbedagge the only solo kill in the LCS thus far, he was then still down like 1,600 gold at 15 to 20 minutes. So, and then they ended up losing that game. So I've been very disappointed with 100 Thieves' start, because I think if anyone was supposed to come out like really firing, it would be them being pissed off that they got 3-0'd by EG in the finals. And I mean, Abbedagge has played 2 Ahri games, lost both lanes really bad, actually been okay in the team fights. But it's
I think his
to
pickoff
me,
was good.
I really need to see him play a lot better, and that might unlock the rest of 100 Thieves. But like, no one on this team has actually stood out to me, other than maybe Closer, as playing at their level from last split.
All right, so we want a little bit more at 100 Thieves. We've talked a lot about how Dignitas is somehow well positioned to beat 100 Thieves, or at least has been up to this point. Do you think it will happen? Is it going to be 5-0 on the year for Dignitas over 100 Thieves? Emily, you're in the hot seat.
Oh, here we go.
I'm saying no.
You're saying no.
I'm going with 100 Thieves.
Going with the hundo
Bucking
fundo.
the trend.
Wow. Okay, Raz.
That's a worrying trend. No, I also think that 100 Thieves will take this one as well. Every time I have voted, every single time I voted 100 Thieves to take down Dignitas.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I can do exactly that.
Aren't you a new firmer, Raz?
I use a new
Stick
firm
with the
Raz.
trend.
Just for that day.
4 in a row.
Just for yesterday.
So we've got double hundo predictions.
You got
Jad,
the
I
hundo.
mean, I know you're gonna give it to me. You're gonna give
1,
me the
2,
juice.
3,
Is Dignitas
4.
that time?
That's it. That's the chance.
Wow.
4 in a row and not 5. 100 Thieves is gonna win.
Are you kidding me, guys?
It's hard. Like, we
You
have
just-
these reasons. We have these reasons that Dignitas has been able to beat them, that Emily highlighted, where they won a lot of these games through smashing bot lane. But it's just too hard. They haven't looked that good.
Wow. All right.
know.
They're saying history will not repeat itself today. We
Maybe the
invite
casters
you
will
all
think differently.
to walk the halls of LCS history with us as we kick off our final day of opening weekend.
Deep in the forest, under the fog, I know they're coming, I know they're here. Oh, that light, is bright. Sleep for today, but tomorrow we fight.
The official start of the League of Legends Championship Series. This is a groundbreaking moment in league history.
Revolutions aren't built in a day.
They come up from the dirt. They bloom from the depths of defeat.
Oh, that light, is bright. Sleep for today, but tomorrow we fight.
Turns around the fight, and he takes over. Team Solomon looking to dethrone Cloud9 as the North American champion. One
A new era has been summoned.
And this time, we won't hold back.
Your new LCS champion! They are the ones who will ignite our spark. Oh my God! He stole the Elder Dragon! Who will bring the uprising of our fame. Who will unleash hell to take what is not given.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the LCS. It's day number 3 here of our week 1 super week. I'm Captain Flowers. This is Mark Zimmerman, and you're tuning in to the very rare but always valued Captain Flowers and Mark Zimmerman duocast. We'll be having a special guest here for our 3rd game of the day. But before that, Mark, you and me got a couple of them to get through here. It's Dignitas and 100 Thieves taking the stage first.
Yeah, I'm excited. You heard the analyst doing a great job setting this one up. The 100 Thieves killers, Dignitas.
Oh yeah, secret sauce.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how they try and emulate that here today. And overall, I'm just stoked. I think Summer Split's been so fun so far with all the new picks coming in, the durability
Everything
update.
post 20 minutes is so fun. Everything before 20 minutes, it's really slow, Mark.
It's a lot of fun for play-by-plays, I'm sure. No, I think if we can just get the pace of the game up in the early game a little bit, it'll be great because I actually really enjoy team fighting. It's something I missed as a coach from the Season 4, Season 5 era where, like, your front line had to play footsies with the opponent and, like, know how to soak damage and go back in and out. For the last couple of years, it's been like, you go in and you die or they die, and that's it. That's the entirety of team fighting.
Yeah, I'm really liking the way the team fights, post 25 minutes or so feel different. They just feel like much more of an epic battle as opposed to, all right, well, somebody died in half a second. But now, let's see how we're going to get into this one here with both these teams. Kalista is remaining a staple of the ban phase these days, so that's going to be banned out by 100 Thieves. Zeri taken off the table by Dig. Both teams looking at that marksman role here at the start of the draft.
Yep, not too much of a surprise, given how important when they were talking about these 100 Thieves killers that Dignitas is, how much of that was centered around bot lane play. Neo, Bio, as well as Huhi and FBI were huge factors in those games, so a lot of early attention down there.
Technically fits into the marksman class as well, but is absolutely not played as
He's
one.
an abomination.
The mid lane nightmare from 1500 range away. Corki's going to be out of here on this one. And with the Lucian ban coming in, that is 4 different marksman-style champions banned out here in the first 4 bans.
Yeah, some of them, like you said, a little bit more solo lane focused. Even Lucian can be flexed technically, though he has seen a lot of Lucian-Nami pairing.
I mean, ever since they made the change where his passive requires an ally to buff him to just try to smack him out of the solo lane, stop letting him do that, it feels like we've seen more of him in bottom lane.
I'm waiting for just more and more ham-fisted, like, stat
just like
change.
stop doing this.
If you leave bot lane, your stats go to 0.
You know, the thing that I've wondered for the longest time is when will League of Legends make an item that just has a line in the description that says not buildable by Ezreal, because that champion specifically has screwed so many items and made so much stuff get changed.
Well,
I'm just waiting for it.
You're just thrilled to see him locked in first.
Yeah, exactly. We had 5 different marksman bans here in the first ban phase, Karma being the only outlier there from that class, and Ezreal's going to get locked in from 100 Thieves, so they still find a first pick there for the AD carry role. How is Dignitas going to respond? There is still a lot available. The hover that we're seeing him sit on for so long here, that's another mid laner that's rose to power here with this focus on scaling, focus on later games. Azir, Corki, and Victor are all very desirable. And with the Corki banned away, Azir is here to play.
Yep, Azir taken here by Dignitas. I want to see what Abbedagge does in response. He's done 2 Ahri games so far. Has had a bit of a rough laning phase so far on the Ahri, but then actually has found a lot of really good charms in the mid to late game. So he's someone who has not quite been playing the scaling mid lane game. Ahri is still high presence around the world, of course, but he's not defaulting into Victor, Corki, Azir that some people are.
Well, we've got 4 seconds left. 400 Thieves has to lock this one in. This is a long-time favorite here of this squad.
I'm shocked.
I can't imagine my incredible surprise that closer is on Viego. Obviously, a historically very successful champion for him and for this squad in particular. But that does mean we got a pretty squishy roster here so far. I'm expecting with this locked in the jungle, it means we're probably going to see a tank up there in the top lane for Ssumday, so you got at least something to work with there. But right as you were hinting at, Mark, it's almost like you're an analyst for this game.
Crazy.
Ahri, locked in for Abbedagge.
Yeah, you want to take it before the second ban phase hits, gets that sniped away, so they take that one. Still more support pairings right now. They'll probably be targeted a little bit more to stop any of the really obnoxious double range lineups that Ezreal likes to pair with, so maybe that Seraphine does end up on the ban table. We've only seen CLG pick it thus far, I believe, but everyone knows it's a strong champion. Lulu as well, things like that. So 100 Thieves have their jungle, AD carry, mid lane, and the only mismatch is topside Gamsu. Instead of an AD carry, they're grabbing the Sejuani.
Yeah. I mean, Sejuani, I was just talking about needing a tank in the modern day version of League of Legends. Feels good to have a big meatball there in the front line. You don't get much spicier of a meatball than Sejuani. Very, very good at just being able to tank up everything. Also with the Ignite teleport build that's viable in the top lane these days, a little bit more of a duelist.
I have thoughts on that build, on the Ignite over the Flash.
You gonna flame it?
We'll see what happens in the game. I'll wait to be correct before I play. If he starts getting solo kills with Ignite, I'll be like, see, I love this.
Be like, wow, incredible tech.
Yeah. If he doesn't get any kills with the Ignite, I'll be like, well, you know, Flash and Engages really allows you to jump on someone.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta wait and see what works and then say that you knew it the entire time.
Exactly.
Gwen, Kai'Sa, Gnar banned away. So the Kai'Sa banned out. Will they hit the marksman pool again now, knowing that technically 4, because Corki is in the class, but he plays a different lane. 4 marksman bans in phase 1, now another marksman ban here in phase 2. Do they want to knock Neo even further down the tier?
It's really interesting. I thought Dig might target supports that pair well with the Ezreal, given that they hadn't taken any of their bot lane yet, but I think they're scared of getting really pinched in the bot lane with support bans. So instead they get rid of some of the things that might give Gamsu some trouble in top lane with the Gwen and Gnar. They still need to take their entire bot lane. They will get counter pick on whatever 100 Thieves picks, probably for the support position.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what does Neo want to take? He does have some aggressive champions in his pool. He has played things like the Kalista in the past. That's obviously banned here. The other thing that people are playing a lot of is Draven when they want to get aggressive. Maybe they end up going for something like that, or scaling.
Yeah, just scale. Get some Jinx in there. And your point about banning away the supports to try to limit some of the options there for 100 Thieves, considering 100 Thieves themselves banned out the Karma, and normally that's something that people love to have played with Ezreal, that's already off the table, so at least it makes you feel a little bit better about focusing on that top lane with your bans instead. But now, speaking of that top lane, 100 Thieves, under their last couple of picks, we need to see the support and top lane both. Leona would make up for some of that lack of frontline, lack of engage that's on the squad thus far. They'll lock that one in. So it's Ezreal, Leona, bot lane.
A little less of the lane domination I thought they were going to go for with Enchanter pairing. I really like Enchanters in the current meta. I do understand, though, if you want to get your counter pick of a carry of some kind into Gamsu and Viego becomes your only frontline, that gets very scary. So
yeah.
I can understand here is a comp pick, and there it is. Like we said, probably going for a counter pick.
Lock it in. Do it. Lock it in. Lock it in. Hey, we got it locked in.
Right.
Every time I see one team pick a super tank, I want to see the other side pick Fiora. Unless it's a game that I'm playing in which case I don't want to see Fiora.
Either way, I'm down for Fiora. I'm really happy because Ssumday was starting to become more consistent of a carry threat. Last split, him and Closer were kind of the most consistent members of that team in Spring Split. But it was mostly on the Tryndamere. And it was a question of, well, with the nerfs coming into Tryndamere later on in the season, what else are you going to add to your arsenal? I'm excited to see them not veering away from the Ssumday in a carry position game plan heading into Summer.
Yep. How do we feel about this Braum? Mark, last pick of the draft. The entire draft here for Dignitas. They're going to pair that one with Jinx.
I like it. For the most part, 100 Thieves comp wants to go in. And pretty much it's 4 champs that go in, and Ezreal, who's totally fine on his own. And Braum is one of the best supports at stuffing engage, annoying melee carries with his passive stacking up stuns on top of them. The exhaust that I assume he's going to take, it just becomes very annoying to try and engage into it, Braum. So Dig have a straight front-to-back team fight, team comp, a lot of tanky frontline options, a lot of CC available. And 100 Thieves, they do have both the ability to team fight, but also split push with the Fiora.
Right, you've got the Fiora split pushing there. You already mentioned Ezreal being able to stay safe by himself to survive against this Dignitas comp that honestly just feels very textbook, right? You have 2 tanks, you have some disengage, 2 hyper carries, and a bruiser to throw in there and make it spicy. Like, this is League of Legends 101.
I've missed it. We haven't had real split pushing win cons in so long. So I'm actually very happy that Fiora is back into the meta.
Well, Fiora does make it interesting because now we're going to see who not only can play better overall, but who can force the other side into their game more, right? Dignitas wants to have these 5v5s. 100 Thieves wants to be able to play through Fiora and percent HP true damage. It leaves that huge white chunk in your death recap, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Who's going to get to play their game? Alrighty, game number 1 on to the Rift here for our final day of this week 1 Super Week. Mr. Mark Zimmerman, we got a Viego in the jungle, we got a Wukong in the jungle. Where are these guys going to be pathing this game?
I expect both teams to have a little bit of focus on top side, especially 100 Thieves. They're going to want to kill Gamsu, get the Fiora rolling. Can go mid lane. I think there's a lot more options for 100 Thieves. Let's just say that. You have engage and setup in all 3 lanes. So I'm not 100% sure where Closer is going to want to focus early on. And for Dig, I think River is going to be on his typical control duty. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Blue, this is not looking too good, my friend. They find him, force the flash over the wall. Nobody from 100 Thieves wants to flash follow that one because they would be flashing into some scary territory. But it does mean you get the free flash out of the enemy mid laner, so Blue might be hurting from that one if 100 Thieves can capitalize with a
I was about to say, I'm going to revise my answer.
Okay.
About top lane. They're going mid now.
Okay, yeah.
Flash down on him. You're going to have the charm setups by Abbedagge the whole time. I love this aggressive early level 1 by 100 Thieves. Get that flash out. You are the more early game oriented team. You're more skirmish oriented. And so you want to find any advantages you can throughout this game. Getting some early micro advantages that you will, like you said, need to capitalize. You will need to go back there to actually get something from it.
River is starting up with his red here in the top side. Gamsu just hovering there in the brush in case Ssumday tried to mess with him, which of course he did. So our top laners head back into the top lane, each with just barely a dent in their health bar, and River will keep on his jungle path without really getting slowed down. Gamsu, of course, Sejuani does not have a fun time fighting into Fiora. It's pretty easy to riposte Sejuani's stuff. It is not very easy to trade back effectively against those vitals on a champion that's kind of just like a big moving brick.
Big moving brick, your Q and your E are actually very telegraphed. That like little bola thing that comes flying out for the stun is pretty easy, like you said, to get that stun off. And just very easy for Fiora to stay on top with the move speed from the vital procs and stuff to keep proccing them when you hit 6 and get the all-in potential.
Yeah, the Sejuani E is always one of those things that stays, like, ever since the SKT Misfits, like, faded game that could have been back at Worlds a few years ago, and seeing the Sejuani E projectile get popped by Braum's shield, it's one of those things that I've always just been extra aware of is, yeah, that thing's actually a kind of a slow projectile and it just flies out. But here in mid lane, we did see an attempt at making something happen. Doesn't turn into a whole lot. Both of our junglers going to head back into their jungles, pathing opposite sides. They both started at their reds, so it'll be Closer on the top half of the map, River on the bottom. River's one of those guys, man, it was the Jarvan last split that we got to see a lot of success on. And then outside of Jarvan, there was not a lot else.
A lot of people have misunderstood that because you are right, but a lot of people have taken that as he can only play Jarvan. Whereas I think the issue was Dig needed him on Jarvan, a really telegraphed early game champion to get leads, but also be the primary engage tool. River historically has not been like a one-trick pony Jarvan player. If you remember even back to MSI, he had a ton of great games on Rumble. He has a versatile champion pool, and it was just more that the team needed him to fill this role. And anytime he wasn't in that role, the team struggled more. And so I'm hoping in summer that we'll get to see him branch out and show I can actually carry a little bit more because the Dig game plan was so one-dimensional last split.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got a Sejuani sitting here in the top lane. You know you don't have to be the initiator / frontline extraordinaire because you've got a backup guy. So River picking up this bottom side Scuttle Crab here shouldn't really have any problem securing that one. You can see Closer in the enemy jungle. Not really a whole lot more for him to do here as he'll go ahead and take his reset, get his first buy of the game. Both of our junglers sitting on 3 charges left there on the knife, so keeping everything at around the same pace. Down here in bottom lane, though, you can see Biofrost just hanging out in the brush. They want to try to do anything here? Nah,
No, bot lane will be the most boring lane of the game, I'd have to say, if I was going to predict. Just
two long-range marksmen and tanky supports. You don't think we're going to get a...
And it's like, if Leona goes in, she loses.
Yeah.
But she just sits back. She doesn't do anything. So you don't do anything. That's the easy understanding of it. It's
Win
just
if
very
you
hard.
do nothing, lose if you do something. Which choice do you make?
Game theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Do nothing.
Sometimes the winning move is not to play. Unfortunately, but hey, they have the wave shoved up down here bottom lane. 100 Thieves doing something now. Huhi goes in, but just as Mark says, if you do something, you lose. Huhi losing about half HP on that one.
Yeah, that was a perfect timing, Huhi. I appreciate the science lecture help.
He's helping you with a demonstration to the class.
He landed the E onto the actual carry. He got the stun off on him, and then he's like, great, time to walk out. And Braum's like, nah.
Sorry, bud.
No. You're going to sit here and get pelted for a while. And they don't have enough damage to kill him, but, obviously won that trade back on their side as the wave comes back into Dignitas.
Meanwhile, back up here in the top lane, Gamsu and Ssumday trading back and forth. Gamsu having that grasp to help him have a bit more of an easy trading pattern against the Fiora, because it's going to be rough, so you might as well make it so you can at least try to stay alive up there. Of course, it's not up to Gamsu to try to win this lane, just survive against the Fiora, farm up, be useful in the team fights. River going to find Huhi there, as Huhi goes for the flash, engage, and it's first blood over to close.
Excellent pincer attack by 100 Thieves there, coming from all angles. And while River was there to kind of cover blue while he pushed that wave in, just more people brought by 100 Thieves. And the no flash, perfectly timed. I don't think it was up when they started that play. I think that was actually just immaculate timing by 100 Thieves, knowing we have to go now or we're not going to get it. And they were willing to commit their flashes. You're going to see them come in from up over on this side here. They try to cut that play off, but they just ignore him and power through. Both people coming in from both sides get that pincer. Nowhere for him to go. I believe the flash was still down. And yeah, I just really like the commitment. I think sometimes people are too shy to use their flashes. Like, we can probably kill him without it. It's like, well, you definitely kill him with them, so just blow them.
Yeah, all three flashes used. The kill is secured. They get it in that window. Feels really good for the side 100 Thieves. Now, they don't have a huge advantage from it. It didn't lead to anything else. Like, they have not been building up farm leads too hugely anywhere. Obviously, you have a bit of a lead up there in top side, but it's sort of counteracted by the lead that their opponents have in bottom. The gold lead itself is just the difference of that first blood, really. But now let's see what we got going on here as Closer heads towards his own red buff. Okay.
Ooh, nice
sweeper.
sweeper.
He sees River waiting there for him. That red shadow's more than enough sometimes. No early Drakes. I remember when I casted on Friday, both of the first couple of games had pre-6-minute #1 Drakes. We're not seeing that this time around. Wukong and Viego not opting to try to go for that early on. Instead, we're seeing them hover around those lanes, seeing them try to make some moves. Ssumday with an easy riposte. This is what I'm talking about. Life is difficult for the Sejuani.
Yeah, nice riposte there by Ssumday. Gets the stun, gets the vital proc, wins that trade, and should be able to use that pressure to, they're going in together to try and control this red buff, and it's going to be very hard for River, not 6, to actually defend this. Probably going to have to sack this one, unless he can get 6 off this, and then they turn.
Well, Abbedagge's also hovering this here. Blue is stuck underneath this turret, farming up. It's priority for 100 Thieves. It's level advantage for 100 Thieves, now being answered by River, who is level 6. That's a play for 100 Thieves. They recognize they have the lead here, and they get the red buff.
And this is what their comp wants to be doing. We're talking about how they have a little bit more control and agency through their lane setups in all these lanes to go and make plays like that.
Yep.
It's a nice little advantage for Closer. They're going to need to keep this pace up, though, and actually start converting into some of those global objectives like you're talking about, like Dragon turrets.
All right, River's found Closer, spinning and winning. Oh, baby, the damage is more than enough. Closer just disappears, and Dignitas answers back. 1-to-1 game. Abbedagge finding a bit more damage onto blue as Biofrost jumps in, wants to at least get the ultimate out of the 100 Thieves mid laner, and they'll do just that.
Nice ult for ult, though. I think you're pretty happy to trade that on Biofrost to cut off the aggressive opportunities by Abbedagge, forcing that flash out early. Should be safe. They have control of the top side of the river after those 2 kills. They're going to grab that Rift Herald. Nice thing for Dignitas to grab, given the fact that they should be weaker on the top half of the map. Finding those kills allows them to take this objective away, so 100 Thieves can't grab it and use it to snowball the Fiora.
Exactly. Not being able to crash that Rift Herald into the turret, get the 2 free plates, plus you would expect them to be able to get a little bit more than that with proper wave management and whatnot. But with it denied, there's no chance for anything. Even farm between our junglers here, as well as they are the only 2 players on either side to have the kills. I like that. It means both of our junglers are getting involved.
Jungler bias strikes again in the LCS.
There's a disproportionate amount of us here on the crew that are junglers.
Something about being a jungler and wanting to talk about the game. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, just something lined up there.
We're gonna ignore that.
One of these days we'll. One of these days we'll
the
figure
wave
it
clear Sejuani.
Don't worry about wave clear Sejuani. All right, let's check back in at how things are looking here. You can see there's some nice little stats on the side of your screen. Biofrost Braum game is pretty good. 30 and 13. That's like what, like 70% win rate or something?
Not doing math.
30 and 13. Hold on, 30 out of 43. I'm googling this right now.
You do it
He's
on
got
your
a
phone.
5 KDA.
I'll say that's a thick Braum stat in that he's also at 199 wins, I believe. He's 1 win away from career 200 wins for Biofrost here.
69.7%. I was 0.3 off.
Disappointed in you.
I was that close. I'm actually really proud of myself for that. Anyway, that's some really nice stats for him. Nearly a 5 KDA on the champion as well. So clearly picking this works well for this team and the many teams he's been on in the past when it happens. But the game as it stands is still very close. Still no Drake taken by either team just about 10 minutes into the game. Still got 4 minutes left before those plates fall. And still around 2.5 minutes for River to decide where he wants to use this hero.
So to defend 100 Thieves and the lack of dragon stacking here a little bit, you have, like we were talking about, that split push win con. Yeah. And so in some sense, you don't ever think you're probably getting soul yourself. And if Dig is not advancing the game plan of soul stacking so the Fiora has to contest them,
just leave it.
Yeah, you just kind of ignore it. Yeah, you can grab it if you find a good window, but I think thus far, Closer has had more important things to do. The ganks on mid, the red buff contest, and those kinds of things. Yes, he did die as well, but I understand not tunneling on like, oh, dragon stacking. I feel like dragons early are really not that important for a lot of team comps, and especially a 4-1 like this one.
It's the difference between, is it more important that we get this or just more important that they don't get it?
And if they're not getting it, we don't need to take it.
Yeah, so they're able to just leave that one sitting on the ground for now. You could see an attempt at a possible play here in the mid lane, but Blue, he had this happen to him once with Closer and huhi both showing up. He's not going to get got like that again, so steps back underneath the turret. He'll be just fine. Neo and Biofrost, they got the wave shoved up to the enemy turret down here in bottom lane, but they do not want to overextend and try to take that second plate there. Don't want to put themselves in any sort of danger. And that's what I feel like with the very slow pace of the early games in this durability patch, with the low number of kills. Everybody's just like, you know, there's no reason to risk it. Just scale. We're Jinx.
We're scaling, bro.
Scale up. Jinx is here.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are going to default into this, and early on, I can see that being a fine strategy to pick up some wins on stage, but I don't think people should get too comfortable with that. One, the metas are always going to change, so if you just learn scaling and you never practice proactive play, when the meta does speed up, you're going to be on the back foot learning. Yeah. As well as the fact that I'm not even convinced you need to play slow right now. We were talking about this a little bit on the
Me either, Mark.
You can go still make plays happen. So, with this draft, Dig is just looking to stem this gold lead. If it stays at 1K for the next 10 minutes, like, you're feeling good as Dignitas because you should become stronger for these 5v5s.
Well, the Dragon finally being started up here by the side of 100 Thieves. They've got everybody not named Ssumday down here, at least contributing something. huhi zoning around these entrances, making sure nobody from the other side is going to be approaching. FBI keeping the pressure on in bottom lane as Abbedagge was hovering near Closer just to make sure nothing bad could possibly happen. So 100 Thieves will get that first Drake here. 12 minutes into the game. Very late first one. And as you already pointed out, that means the Soul is nowhere on the horizon.
Nowhere on the horizon, plus 100 Thieves probably not the team comp to be forcing those. I think this one makes sense given the Rift Herald was taken away by Dignitas, and they're going to have to find a way to drop it.
Yeah,
soon.
that Rift Herald is about to expire. Like, River's bottom, like, this is where we're using it. This is what it's got to be.
Yeah, so both teams ended up with the objectives they didn't really want.
Yeah.
Dignitas don't have the tempo to get a good Rift Herald off, but they were the ones who got it, and then 100 Thieves is like, well, there's no Rift Herald, so I guess we'll get Dragon now, and now they're in a position to stop the Rift Herald from...
Shelly didn't even get the charge!
No, Shelly!
Holy cow, that Herald sucked. Okay, that was a terrible Herald. Okay.
I don't know. Shelly must have annoyed River or something earlier, and this is payback.
I don't know. Yeah, that is not what you want to see from your Rift Herald. So 100 Thieves winning out overall in the neutral objective game because the objective that they got is at least worth something other than giving 25 gold to your opponents for killing it. We can also see mythic items starting to come online. Gore Drinker up there for the Fiora, Divine Sunderers on both of our junglers. Frozen Heart for Gamsu, so obviously not a mythic item in itself, but it is a full completion. Of course, the armor's not going to save you against the Fiora true damage, but at least everything else, you're up against a Viego, you're up against an Ezreal, it's going to be pelting you with Qs. Plus the extra mana allows him to stay in the lane longer and before having to go back.
All right, so now we might hit on that Ignite that I was talking about a little bit during Champ Select. I understand there's some matchups where the Ignite is not about you winning it, but it's about making surviving easier. So if you're taking heavy trading with the Fiora, the Ignite will push your trades to be a little bit more powerful, and you're not really looking for the all-in, whereas maybe there's some other matchups where Sejuani can. But I would still wonder, like, can you get through the lane phase with Flash? Sejuani does not need Flash with her Q to play defensive, but then in late-game teamfights, Flash Qs, Flash ultimates, these easier engages that are enabled. Yeah, it's like, I wonder if as a, you are a team fighting champion, I don't care if you are able to go 10 CS down or 20 CS down in your lane versus Fiora, because that doesn't really matter to me either way. I'm not sure the Ignite is worth.
You don't think the game's being won or lost based on whether you're 20 CS down
and you're
Fiora.
losing the lane anyways against Fiora. I'm not sure the Ignite is worth it in this exact circumstance, unless it's literally like, I'm going to die over and over if I don't take this, but I'm not convinced from what I've seen from this matchup that that is the case, and I think it's just a default pick that feels good, but it's not needed.
Well, FTX total gold on the left side of your screen here. Ssumday in the top half, River and Gamsu down there right above the supports. So Dignitas obviously still a little bit behind in gold, but as you already said earlier, 1,000 gold lead doesn't feel too bad when you have Jinx and Azir and you have this scaling draft, and it's down below 1,000 now again. 15 minutes in, second Herald is alive, Closer's going after this one, and Mark, I sincerely hope 100 Thieves will find more success with this objective than their opponents did.
I have a little bit more faith in them with the advantages that their top side of the map has. You can probably use Fiora's shove to just run up that lane and drop it. I would like to see them actually break mid with it. It's an interesting debate, as Dignitas are using this little bit of a tempo advantage from Closer being on the top side to grab bot turret, it looks like. Nice.
Good shield from Biofrost. Blocks the True Shot Barrage, stops FBI from being able to thin out that wave enough to maybe force somebody back. So Dignitas, first turret of the game, gonna bring that gold lead that much closer. They're only down a couple of hundred now. Blue's gonna keep farming up this minion wave here in mid, as that does mean Abbedagge is going to have the shove, going to have the roam, and going to have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yep, they should have the shove in both those mid and top lane. I was gonna say, I wonder if it's more important to break mid lane for map control or to drop it topside and get more gold on Fiora gold. It's an interesting debate. I'm going to see where 100 Thieves wants to drop this one, because right now this is probably the most important 5 to 10 minute window from them, where you need to start actually exploding this gold lead from here. If you go into 25 minutes up 1K, 1.5K, that's not probably enough for your team comp to actually win these team fights. Unless you just have super clean engages. There is always the one-shot insta-kill potential if, you know, Ahri charm lands, Leona gets a sick engage. You're always going to be in the team fights, but in straight front-to-back situations, Dig will have that lead.
I mean, we're talking about team fights, but we also got to remember the Fiora win condition, talking about that split push. Like, you know, Ssumday gets to the point where he's 4 or 5 item Fiora. There's not really somebody on Dignitas that can answer that, unless River is somehow a 6 item Wukong at the time that Fiora has 4 items. I don't know. That doesn't...
Even then?
Yeah, even then, question mark? I mean, if he reposts your ulti, you're just kind of like, all right, see you, dude.
Yeah.
But I do want to see what Ssumday's able to do on this pick, because the CS lead is starting to take off a little bit further. He'll be at around almost plus 30 by the time he gets done farming up the last of that minion wave there. Gamsu is rotating down towards the mid lane here, as Dignitas has plenty of players hovering around. So I think Dig might be looking to make some sort of a fight happen, but they've got to be aware of what Ssumday can do in response. Closer also in the top side. Looks like they're willing to potentially commit that Rift Herald here. Yes, they are. And this could be 2 turrets if nobody from Dig is able to respond.
Yeah, Dig's grabbing the dragon. Gamsu pops over the wall, goes whoops, Q's right back over the other side. There's going to be 2 Shelly charges off at least from this.
Sejuani doesn't stop the second charge.
No, no way. So we'll see if they can actually grab the second turret. It looks like on the minimap you can see the rest of Dignitas trying to move up through mid lane, get that control, and then get up to Gamsu. You can see River making his way up there, and there's Bio.
Biofrost gets here to defend, but the charge completes before they can stop it. That's what you're looking for. 2/3 of the HP of that turret instantly gone. So next time Ssumday has the opportunity, that turret will be in his sights. Dignitas finally finds their way back into the top half of the jungle. 100 Thieves will not secure the tier 2, but they do end up trading away the Drakes for that bit of a gold lead, and I think that's a trade they're always willing to take. FBI with a flash away to avoid the ulti knock up there from River. It was this close, Mark.
Yeah, if he got knocked up there, I'm pretty sure he's a donezo, so nice reaction by him. River committed the flash during the stealth to get as far into the lane as he could.
But that means that there is no flash available here on the Ezreal for the next few minutes. That is very important. Granted, it's still Ezreal. He still has it built into the kit, and he still has cleanse as well, so he's never going to be an easy target, but at least he's a possible target now.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I like to play, find the opportunity. Also get a little tempo back for your team. One other lane assignment setup that we didn't really talk about for 100 Thieves was actually the 1-3-1. You can leave your Ezreal mid, put Fiora in one lane, Ahri on the other, and Azir doesn't love being in the side lane. He's not that bad for control mages in the side lane because he does have his shuffle to move around and kite out and whatnot, but still something that Ahri's going to feel much more comfortable in. You can see her pushing in that bot wave right now and then dipping into the jungle with Closer, with Huhi to threaten anyone rotating through. They have really good vision control set up there as well. Clearing this out to put pressure on Neo and Blue where they can potentially rotate around that bot side of the map.
All right, Mark, it's almost 20 minutes into the game, and we got 2 damn kills on the scoreboard. So now I got to ask, when are we going to see bodies hit the floor?
There is a possibility you don't.
That's a horrible answer. That is not the answer I want.
I'm going to give you the worst case scenario.
Okay, worst case scenario.
100 Thieves do a great job with vision control. They do an immaculate job with map control. You know, they're splitting the map. Dig don't ever find an opportunity to group up. They can't engage. 100 Thieves get Baron control. They actually just get the Baron for free while Fiora is splitting. There's a world where 100 Thieves can just like rear naked choke slowly, go to sleep, go to sleep to Dignitas and just drop them. But that's not gonna happen.
No, give me a boxing match instead. Huhi goes in, popping the stopwatch as Dig is ready to fire back. Neo wants to get away, but Ssumday denies it. Huhi's gonna be traded back 1-for-1 there. River getting the kill credit on that, but now another kill piles in for 100 Thieves. Double kill over to Ssumday. Gamsu's gonna get one back onto Abbedagge, but River is washed away. Gamsu tries to escape, but FBI's still got a whole clip ready to go. Biofrost wants to survive a little longer. He's got the stopwatch, but Closer's got him all counted out.
I love it. 100 Thieves looking for the aggressive angle to close this game out. Nice engage by Huhi. Gives his body up to find that one off the tail end of that fight as well. 100 Thieves going to be able to grab a couple turrets. Looks like Closer might finish that one off. And we'll see.
Gamsu jumps in on FBI, but then he's like, oh, wait, dude, I'm Sejuani.
Whoops, bad idea. Anyways, Ssumday going to finish off that mid lane turret. So nice team fight there, grabbing a bunch of kills and kind of blowing up that gold lead. Like I was saying, this is the opportunity you want to be exploiting that. Now up to 3,500 gold, FTX gold advantage, 400 Thieves.
3.7K off the back of this fight. You can see one more time how it went down as Dignitas were falling back out of the river, but it was Huhi starting it off.
Really like the flash E getting on top of Neo and forcing out the early cleanse there and just kind of splitting the fight where no one is protecting Neo as this TP comes in. So it's the easiest kill of Ssumday's life. Instantly obliterates him and just blows up those battle lines. So by the time Gamsu gets in there, and you see this ball comp right here, like this is a situation where if Jinx is free hitting, that fight can look a lot different. So the fact that Huhi found that great engage, his Zenith Blade carrying him through the front line was what won the fight for them. Nice follow-up by Abbedagge as well, not playing scared. And then the entire team having just the opportunity to continue chasing down. When you have so many threats on your team, one person can kind of give their body up. Because if Abbedagge dies for Neo, you still have 3 more carries, whereas it's a bunch of meatballs for Dignitas' side.
Yeah, Neo getting out of it that fast. Both Sums down, Ssumday right behind you. It's a nightmare situation for the AD carry, and you can see what that nightmare looks like by the numbers here on the chart. 3,111, most damage done in the team fight by a significant margin there for Ssumday's Fiora.
Yeah, Braum doing more damage than your Jinx is not the ideal situation for Dignitas there.
No, I would not be happy with that situation myself. We got 15 seconds till our third Drake of the game is on the board. 1-1 in that count so far, so not really super imperative for either team to get this. 100 Thieves going to have Abbedagge there in top, finishing off that tier 2 turret that we saw lose most of his HP to the second Rift Herald earlier. The rest of 100 Thieves hanging around here, seeing if maybe they can poke at these guys. We do have a teleport coming in, so
behind.
They might really want to challenge for this. They are going to scare Dignitas off. 100 Thieves are able to bring in the whole squad in time, but Dignitas are right back onto the objective. FBI taking a little bit of damage. Closer's going in. 50-50. It's going to be slain by Biofrost of all people. Ssumday backing off. Abbedagge's got the Spirit Fire. Nice block in the True Shot Barrage there from Biofrost. That's what you picked the Braum for. And Dignitas are able to walk it away. Drake in hand.
Very controlled play by Dignitas there. I gotta say, they did a great job of marking the flanking threats. As anyone tried to step forward, someone else would step back and try and make sure they could not find that angle. You know, when Jinx got excited, Neo chased Ssumday out from the flank, and then right when Abbedagge was threatening over the wall, I think it was a blind Q that Bio landed on top of him to make sure, like, hey, get back. And
you don't want any of this.
Yeah, we don't want any flying charms coming in over the wall. So I thought that was
you want to talk about flying charms over the wall? Markz, Zimmerman, are you a psychic?
I saw it coming. No, that was just an insane angle by Abbedagge. Finds that kill onto Neo, getting picked on a little bit this game. With him down, I wonder how hard 100 Thieves wants to go on this. Are they going to start threatening the Baron?
Well, they have 25 seconds with no Jinx on the map, so if nothing else, they will be able to sweep through this jungle, take some vision control, fire off some True Shot Rush. Nice reaction there from Bio. He's on top of blocking these. Every time he's had an opportunity this game to block True Shot Barrage, he has had the shield up in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he's been really good so far on the Braum. Look at this, and good job by Dignitas to kind of sniff out that Baron, that there wasn't actually an attempt going on, get out of that situation with just Neo dying. Doesn't feel good. Still a massive gold lead in 100 Thieves' favor. In a very good position now to kind of spread that pressure out now. They are going to have the TP backup for Ssumday. It's 24 minutes in. You can start threatening this Baron.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about the gold lead, talking a lot about the thresholds of which team feels comfortable win. 6,000 gold lead is definitely a point beyond comfort to be up against that for any team.
Yes.
What point does Dignitas need to hit now? Are we talking 35 minutes? Are we talking 40 minutes worth of scaling? If the gold lead stays at around this level for Dig to feel like things are all right? Because this is daunting.
I don't think it's really a point in time.
Okay.
You know, there was like, now we've caught up from 6,000 gold deficit. This isn't like Ornn with like a million scaling champions that you just eventually make that gold deficit up. I think at this point, Dig needs to find their own play, whether that's continuing stacking these dragons and then win a team fight. Maybe 100 Thieves gets over aggressive at the Baron, but if they just do nothing and just scale, I think 100 Thieves are in a great position to just, like we said, choke them out a little bit this game, control the vision, and make sure that they can keep using the Fiora inside lanes, who is now up to 2.5 items. Getting very scary.
2.5 items, the 2 completed of which have a lot of Omni Vamp on them, and there is no Grievous Wounds on the enemy side in any form. Of course, Grievous Wounds is a bit less effective after the durability patch, but at the same time, if it's Fiora with 2 lifesteal items, you're probably going to want to reduce some of that.
Everyone saw the Fudge highlight from day one where he got the 4-man Gore Drinker. There's still plenty of healing for Fiora.
Yeah, Fiora is very, very scary in this game. 2-0-2 here for Ssumday, 272 farm, highest in the game, just barely above his own other carries as 100 Thieves move into the enemy jungle. Huhi's going to be found out, but that is Leona. Can't really make a move on that champion, no sir. Biofrost spinning the ultimate for it, doesn't get a whole lot, and it's not like that's going to have much of a consequence. There's no Drake to fight over. Nobody's got the confidence to go after a Baron just yet. Abbedagge getting jumped on now, though. Ooh. Everfrost is so good. It's so good.
I thought there was more coming to that end. No, you're right.
No, nothing else I have to say about Everfrost is broadcast appropriate.
Generically good. We'll leave
it's such a good item.
It's a great item. Yeah, I thought that was a good attempt to, trade summoners for Huhi there, stem a little bit of 100 Thieves aggression. They also got the ult out of Ahri there, so while people are going to look at Blue missing his shuffle, I think it's ultimately fine. Trading out ultimates for Dignitas is not the worst thing in the world for them to remove some playmaking opportunities from 100 Thieves. Yeah. But overall, I've been very impressed with Abbedagge's Ahri. I was doing some stat digging, and there's nothing quite like using stats on 2-game sample sizes.
I thought you were going to give me something really cool, like historic Ahri numbers or something, and you gave me that.
I gave you that. Here's my troll stats. Negative 22 CSD at 15 frames. Struggling a little bit in the lane phase so far in this season, but the only mid laner with a solo kill is from Abbedagge.
Well, Abbedagge is setting up another play down here in bottom lane with a grand challenge issued. Ssumday's laying the true damage into Gamsu, but it's the true damage of Abbedagge's orb that ends up taking him out. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find the mark, and 100 Thieves gets kill number 7.
Nice roam over by Abbedagge there, finding Gamsu underneath his turret, thinking, oh, I'm probably safe, but the CC lands. Almost gets the kill with the Ignite, but not the case. Ssumday gets out.
And I like the fact that you bring up, even though we do have a small sample size, the rough laning phase for Abbedagge's Ahri so far, because of the fact, I'm remembering the 0-3-1 start into the final score of 6-3-9 or whatever, and it's like this guy's ability to even come off of a bad start and translate it into success in the mid game and the late game to find picks, to find playmaking. His Ahri is always setting something up.
And I think that's actually what I would like to stress about his Ahri, is that in the side lane, he plays the macro part well, moves across the map, and then lands big charms in these mid to late game situations. We saw him go over the wall in the mid lane, goes down the bot lane here. A lot of the plays that 100 Thieves are making right now are off the back of Abbedagge's Ahri.
Well, Dignitas have got to find some sort of answer here, somewhere, some way, somehow. It's 7,500 gold almost, favoring 100 Thieves as Ssumday continues to push. Death Dance! If you thought 2 items that give you an absolutely egregious amount of healing was too much, how about a 3rd one?
How about a 4th? Where's the Bloodthirster?
Well, we might... Okay, we're not going to see a Bloodthirster, but I like to at least entertain the
He's going GA next for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely GA. He's got the stopwatch in the inventory. But Dignitas, they got to find something, man. I mean, they don't have that dragon stacking anymore. It's 2-2 now, so it's not like Soul's coming online anytime soon. I don't know. I'm not, this current game state, the past few minutes of play, 8.2 thousand gold lead, not inspiring a lot of confidence in me for the Dignitas boys right now.
No, looking difficult from this game. The one thing going in their favor is they are the 100 Thieves killer. As you heard the analyst talk about, hold on.
They got reputation and they got Abbedagge. He might just be down. I cast a curse.
You did it to him.
Neo gets the pop, and that's even more important because it's putting money on the Jinx.
Put money on the Jinx, stopping the aggression there. And this is the big thing. If you mess up and engage against Dignitas' comp, so much peel and self-control. The only problem is during that time, Ssumday, uncontested in the bot lane, grabs the inner turret, working on the inhibitor turret now.
Yeah, it always feels bad in a game of League of Legends when you feel like you finally caught him, you finally got some footing there for a moment, and then you look at bottom and the whole thing's collapsing.
Whoops, it was a 4v5 and
Unlucky.
we're losing turrets. Nice bit of pressure for 100 Thieves. I mean, that's how you play a 4-1 comp, is when you're playing well, even if something doesn't work on one side of the map, your other side is still getting something done. So nicely done there by Ssumday, keeping that pressure up. So despite the engage not quite working for Abbedagge, getting caught out and dying, the rest of the team keeping up the pressure.
Well, Dignitas is trying to stop 100 Thieves who are invading the red side jungle. River had a good smite to secure the buff itself versus Closer. But the entire time this is happening, 100 Thieves is loving dragging all of Dignitas over here to this top side jungle and just having these scrappy fights that don't lead to a whole lot, because the entire time Ssumday's doing this.
And the thing is, he can go in, take aggressive trades versus Gamsu. Both of them go down to half health, but there's no Warmogs on Gamsu, so he just hits the wave. He goes back to full. Gamsu had to run all the way back to base, which is why those minions were hitting that turret uncontested. And Ssumday's playing respectfully. He says, I don't know where all of Dignitas is on the map, but my minions are doing a fine job. He's just cheerleading them on from the back line as they continue to chip that turret lower.
Slow and steady. 2.5 minutes till our next Drake spawns in this game. Baron still up on the map. You can see the nice little orange hue around all of those objectives because Dignitas has objective bounties available in style. These guys have a lot of catching up to do in this game, Mark. 49,000 to 57,000.
Like I was saying, though, they're the 100 Thieves killers, Captain Flowers. 4-0 against them on the year. Something will happen. Some cosmic miracle will break their way. They'll get all these objective bounties.
Dignitas has plot armor.
They have plot armor, exactly. This is the anime pro tag who, you know, is about to get some insane level up out of nowhere. Some absolute MacGuffin power up, you know, that just comes out of nowhere.
Well, let's see what the writers have in store for us here on today's episode, as 100 Thieves are starting up the Baron. Dignitas has no vision inside the pit. Huhi's going to throw up some more wards, just buy some more time. Super Mega Death Rocket not finding much of anything except showing him that Baron is low. 100 Thieves back away, though. They don't want to risk anything.
Yeah, playing very respectfully. I think they know flipping Baron is one of the few ways that Dignitas can get back in the game. They back off there and say, Ssumday's doing a great job on the bot side.
Ssumday's just going to kill Gamsu. Oh, Ssumday!
Oh, no!
Ssumday! Okay, all right, all right. No need for alarm. No need for alarm. Just having a little fun with it there at the end.
Yeah, Q onto the minion, going the wrong way on the lunge there, but gets the kill. And that's why you back off the Baron. You don't need to brute force it. Ssumday is making things happen down the bot side of the map, and now they're back onto the Baron.
Now they're back on Baron because they know that Dignitas has to send another man back into the bottom lane to deal with Fiora. Biofrost gonna get caught out there. Stun coming out from the Leona. Abbedagge tries to go forward, but 100 Thieves is a little bit split here. FBI trying to find enough damage. Gonna get that last Mystic shot. He shoots and he finds his mark.
FBI, the sniper, lining him up, hops the wall, blue trinket over to spot him out, I believe he did. Then lands that max range Q, back on the Baron.
And the way that these kills are staggered. Gamsu's about to come back alive in 5 seconds, but now Jinx is dead for 30. It is impossible for Dignitas to ever fight with their full strength. River's hanging around. He's like, okay, we're going to go for a YOLO, see if maybe we can flip the Baron and steal it. 100 Thieves backing away again as Biofrost approaches with River. So still, 100 Thieves have not been able to secure the Baron, but across the map, the real story's being told.
Yep, Ssumday just never left that bot lane, grabs the inhibitor. He grabbed a couple kills around the Baron as well. So the gold lead just continuing up 400 Thieves here. It's going to be even more difficult with super creeps in the bot lane.
Super creeps in the bot lane. We've got the Drake spawning now, so 100 Thieves will likely take themselves to soul point with that one. Let's take another look at how this play went down. Abbedagge didn't hit the charm, but there was a bunch of shots being fired back and forth.
And you can see like how Dignitas' comp could be very scary when they don't get on top of Neo. Just a couple auto attacks onto Abbedagge puts him down to almost dead, but thankfully FBI also hopped over the wall. It's going to land this first Q right here to put him into almost dead. Boop.
And
got vision.
He's feeling it.
Ooh, blind, actually. Yep. That was actually the Dignitas blue trinket that confused me. So blind Q over the wall, read the map movements, dialed into the Matrix, killed Neo.
You ain't messing around.
Agent
CIA,
Smith,
man. This is the FBI.
It's
This is the
Agent Smith.
FBI. Yeah. See, you're in there now. You're in there now. 100 Thieves are back in that Baron pit, but they're not starting it up just yet. Ssumday still has to get that wave escorted a little bit closer in the enemy base. 100 Thieves making sure they're synced up with their man on the other side, so there's always multiple threats for Dignitas to have to answer. Pulling them apart, never letting them play this 5v5 League of Legends 101 team comp correctly.
Yeah, I mean, this is textbook by 100 Thieves, and I think what a lot of fans wanted to see out of them as one of the teams with returning members, championship team from just last summer, you expect them to be playing at a higher mid to late game team level, even if there's still things in the patch they need to learn, know how exactly they want to team fight with new champions and whatnot, knowing how to play as a unit, how to push and pull an enemy team around the map when you have a big gold lead.
Well, 100 Thieves are starting it up again. Dignitas will once more be challenged with how to answer this. Ssumday pushing up in the bottom lane. Now he's going to rotate over towards mid. Super Mega Death Rocket fires out, gets a little bit of damage onto Closer. Difference is 100 Thieves not fully backing away from the Baron just yet. Now they finally going to decide to do that one. You can see that Abbedagge went fishing with the charm, didn't exactly land anything. It's Blue that is now standing to stop Ssumday. Gamsu's like, I cannot deal with this anymore. I'm Sejuani versus Fiora, and it's 35 minutes into the game. It just doesn't work.
No. The one nice thing is that Closer, they don't have someone who can tank Baron too effectively. Closer doesn't seem to have enough lifesteal to be able to just kind of like with the Divine Sunderer be like, I'm not taking a ton of damage.
Yep.
So he gets low. Obviously, huhi has no way to get healed up. So when they do these stalled out Baron attempts, they don't have a frontliner who can then restart the Baron after getting chipped low. It's one of the things that's stopping 100 Thieves from getting Baron right now. But they've been getting plenty done on the rest of the map. The only question is, how are you going to blow open the game completely? How do you actually win from here? Can it just be the Ssumday split push, or are they actually going to get this Baron?
And you're talking about Closer not having anybody to tank for him to be that front line there with the Baron. This is a much tankier Viego than the Viegos we've seen in the past with like Maw and Death Dance. This is Skarner build Viego. These are just movement speed tank items and a Divine Sunderer, so...
Yes, he understands that I'm the front line kind of with this 4-man core that we have on the Baron, so going a little tankier, never really... got quite as fed as we're used to seeing the Closer Viego, the team fight monster. But I think it's important to know when, like, I'm the backseat, Ssumday is the superstar carry of this game.
Yeah, I like seeing players make build adaptations, right? I don't want to see some cookie cutter build from Mobifier. I want to see what's right in the moment. And what's right in the moment is Closer grabbing a kill on Neo. Dignitas are heading for the hills, and they're sending Gamsu straight into the dirt on the side of 100 Thieves. They keep on chasing as Blue tries to get away back over the wall, and Ssumday keeps on diving behind enemy lines. River wants to get out, and a flash gets him away from the Mystic shot, but Dig stands 3v5 as the waves are pouring in. Blue will do whatever he can to clear out these super minions. 100 Thieves now with 2 inhibitors down in the enemy base. Another excellently blocked True Shot barrage from Braum, but you got a lot more to worry about for Dig right now. Abbedagge goes in, Charm's gonna land, Everfrost gonna follow that up, and FBI is rampaging through these guys. River tries to stay alive here on the front. He'll be burned down by Ssumday. Still no dead thieves here in this Dignitas base. Blue trying to change that, but a 1v5 is not good odds. The plot armor breaks, and 100 Thieves take down Dignitas.
First win over Dignitas for 100 Thieves here in 2022. Looking clean while they do it. They didn't need a Baron, Captain Flowers. They just kept pulling Dignitas apart. And Closer said, I hear you guys saying I'm not the carry. He
immediately gets it done. 100 Thieves. We talked about at the beginning of this match, during the draft, who's going to get the other side to play their game better? 100 Thieves did a great job of never letting Dignitas have their big front-to-back team fight.
I liked it a lot because it was an expert showcasing from level 1, going in knowing that we're going to have a lot of the advantages in the early game. They blow that flash onto Blue, and then they punish him again, and from there never really let up off that pressure.
And we never really got to see a lot of success from this Sejuani. It never got to team fight. We never saw any kill pressure from the Ignite like you were talking about. We never saw any value out of that. It was just, hey, this is Fiora getting to play a Fiora game. We'll slap some Wub Wub music on this one, turn it into a montage, because Ssumday just got to play the Ssumday game, and Gamsu was unfortunately the target dummy of this Fiora.
And it was reminiscent to some of the losses that we've seen out of Dignitas from last split, where they just never really find an angle to be the power point on the map, and they end up on their back foot. they never really had a play that worked for them where they got an advantage in the game.
I mean, we saw a couple of good picks onto Abbedagge. We saw, as you put it, what almost could have been, seeing Neo get those auto attacks with the boom, boom, boom rocket launcher stuff out there in the jungle. But when you're 8,000 gold behind already?
Yeah, it was a lot of like back foot
enough.
punishes that they were finding, not their own plays.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, those feel good in a closer game of League of Legends, but the big thing is the game just got too far away from them too quickly. It was all so slow for so long during the early game, but then once the game left that state of 1-to-1, it was just 100 Thieves stacking up those advantages one after the other, and now we're handing it over to LeTigress and Crawl Closer for the Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, Captain Flowers. A victory here for 100 Thieves. I've got Closer. This was the first win against Dignitas all year. Any special feelings about that?
I mean, finally we took out the final boss, Dignitas. I'm happy with that. Yeah, happy.
I do want to get your thoughts on the pacing of the game, because some were thinking 100 Thieves like to play aggressively. We saw you do that in the earlier portions, but tell me about that and how things went in the mid to late game, even with such an extensive lead.
I think we had like no way to lose the game because we were too ahead. I do think we played a bit too slow. Like the game should have been over maybe like 10 minutes earlier. We took it like extra safe. I think we tried to do Nash when we don't have damage, but I mean, like, I'm still happy that like we are trying to play this kind of style instead of like going full aggressive, like only fighting. I want to improve as a team and not win by like individual performance mostly. So yeah, we are improving.
How are you personally feeling within the context of this team, coming off of the spring split, having this time to prepare for summer? Just your general emotions about it all.
I think we still have long way to go, to be honest, as a macro game perspective. Like, we are all skilled and good players, but I think as a team, if we improve, like, we will win the title again. So we are looking forward to that.
I do have to know, do you feel like a bad guy because you denied Biofrost a 200th LCS win on Father's Day? You're denying Bio Daddy.
I'm sorry, Biofrost, but like, we gave them 2 wins last split, so we had to win this one.
Yeah, had to take it back here. Thank you as always,
Thank
Closer.
you.
As we go to a break right now, the good guys of FlyQuest have sent us along some content that we can chillax to. Check it out.
I call it the wheel.
I don't think so. This is a miss.
Brother David, behold! It's a fork!
I got 10 forks right here, baby! A toilet? We're not animals. We go outside like humans.
Hancock!
No king!
The people shall have the right to vote!
Even the stupid ones? Edison, can I be honest with you? It stinks. Nobody's gone to the moon, ever! Why not? It's far! It's too far! It's far!
の未来はポータブルミュージックです。
バカか！出て行け！語りがいいとも言えるぞ！語り！
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never.